in the Cathedral Presbytery. He was again. I mean, I was diocesan chaplain, and I didn't want Cardijn to make big speeches. I wanted it to be that kind of real relationship. But see, his warmth and his conviction, his utter conviction, almost childlike in its simplicity, won the young people. I mean, to them, to see this as he was then, of course, getting an old man, getting to be an old man, and still with the fire in him. And that's the difference. Namely, I was happy to have him speak publicly so that they would be exposed to the fire. But then I wanted him to convey his conviction, that personal devotion, the wrong word, dedication to a cause that he was so unswervingly bent on. And that's all I can say really about Ballarat. He had an enormous influence on those young people.
How long would he have stayed in Ballarat?
I reckon he must have been there 3 or 4 days.
I see. Okay, it's quite long, isn't it?
Yeah. Now there was I did.
Did he travel around a bit in the diocese, or was it
a bit? Yeah, not very much, a bit. But it was a congress, some kind of a thing here in Canberra. I had to write a speech to be given by the apostolic delegate or something.
Oh, is it Agajanian? Yeah, I think you mentioned that also in by Wendouree. You mentioned sometime you had to write a speech by Agajanian.
Agajanian. Yeah,
okay, yes.
Now, that wasn't connected with Cardijn's visit, was it?
I have to remember in your book, but I thought that was later, but I might be wrong now.
Matter,
Yeah. So anyway, just went on Ballarat. What about O'Collins? What was his attitude to Cardijn? How would you describe that?
Well, Collins, Collins had no understanding really of the lay apostolate, except that it was a good thing. That's all I wanted him to.
Right.
To ever understand. Cardijn would have been a mystery to Jimmy O'Collins, a complete mystery. How did he fit into that kind of ecclesiastical, hierarchical concept of the church? Who is this bloke? What's he on about? And so on. You with me? While not for one moment opposing him, or on the contrary, happy to have him there. He certainly was happy to have him there, as indeed we all were. See, that was the great thing about him in this country at any rate. Some other places he might have been seen as an irritant or as a bit of a threat to established ways of doing things. But that was not the case here. There'd be some of the old fogey bishops and so on, but they were of no consequence. Who was taking any notice of them? And Mannix, of course, in Melbourne, Mannix was unique in the way that he permitted priests of his diocese, like Lombard and others, to start things, to carry them on, and he'd support them without interfering. Of course, the big thing about Mannix was he didn't have to ever brook any rivals. He was so far above the normal run and mill of us that Dan didn't have to worry about that. And
Were you present with any meetings between Mannix and Cardijn?
No,
for
I
example?
can't remember having
Yeah.
been present at any
Okay.
meeting between Mannix and Cardijn. And indeed, I don't think, once I didn't, I always carefully avoided interfering with the Melbourne world.
Right, yeah, different dioceses,
Or
yeah.
the national. My go was Ballarat, and I had a national level with that chaplain's manual thing that I wrote that book, of course.
Yeah,
So I did
towards
have
apostolic laity, yeah.
a national. But no, I wouldn't have gone to Melbourne even
Okay.
for that.
Yeah.